The All Blacks are heading into one of the biggest challenges of their South African tour, and all eyes are now on the team Dave Rennie could select for the opening test against the Springboks in Johannesburg. After 3 tour matches, Rennie has had plenty of opportunities to assess his squad, test combinations, and see which players have made the strongest case for a place in the starting side. But against the world champions, selection becomes a very different challenge. Experience, physicality, decision-making, and the ability to handle pressure will all be crucial, and there are several fascinating calls facing the All Blacks coach. One of the biggest questions surrounds the backline, with Beauden Barrett expected to make his test return, while Rieko Ioane could find himself outside the matchday 23 despite an encouraging tour. Starting at full-back, Will Jordan looks the most likely option if Damian McKenzie is unable to recover in time. Rennie has indicated that he remains the least confident of McKenzie being available among the All Blacks' injury concerns, and that could have a major influence on the backline. Jordan has already shown that he can provide more than just finishing ability. His rugby intelligence, passing skills, and ability to read space make him a natural option at number 15. There is also the possibility of Beauden Barrett filling the fullback role, particularly after he featured there against the Bulls, but Jordan appears to have the edge in this prediction. On the right wing, Leroy Carter is the leading candidate. Carter has been one of the standout performers during the tour and has impressed with his work under the high ball, an area that could become extremely important against the Springboks. Fahai Finianganofo also caught the eye against the Sharks, but Carter has the advantage of greater experience in the number 14 jersey at test level and has produced consistent performances during the recent matches. At outside center, Quinn Tupaea looks like one of the clearest selections in the predicted team. His performances under Rennie have steadily strengthened his position, and with Billy Proctor unavailable through injury, the competition for the number 13 jersey appears to have narrowed. Anton Lienert-Brown and Rieko Ioane remain experienced options, but at this stage Tupaea appears to be the preferred choice. Inside him, Jordie Barrett looks almost certain to wear the number 12 jersey. Barrett was outstanding during the Nations Championship and then produced another impressive display when he featured against the Sharks. His physical presence, defensive strength, and ability to contribute in attack make him particularly valuable for a match where the All Blacks are likely to face enormous pressure in the midfield. Then comes one of the most interesting selections of all, number 10. With Richie Mo'unga confirmed as unavailable for the opening test and Damian McKenzie facing an injury concern, Ruben Love is expected to start at fly-half. Love has already demonstrated his potential during the Nations Championship, and his performance against the Sharks provided another indication that he is growing into the international role. A test at Ellis Park would be a significant examination, but it could also represent an important step in his development. At scrum half, Cam Roygaard is another player whose fitness will be closely watched. Roygaard has not played since the July tests and still has an injury cloud hanging over him, but if he is declared fit, it would be a major surprise if he did not start. His speed around the breakdown, attacking instincts, and ability to keep the game moving make him a hugely important part of the All Blacks' plans. The backline could therefore feature a combination of established experience and emerging talent, with Jordan, Carter, Tupaea, Jordie Barrett, Moorbey, Love, and Roygaard potentially forming a very different-looking unit from some of the combinations used earlier on tour. On the left wing, Josh Moorbey could get the nod. Caleb Clarke's injury has simplified the selection picture, but Moorbey has also done plenty to strengthen his own case. He offers genuine pace, carries strongly, and has looked comfortable in the air, which could be vital when the Springboks look to apply pressure through tactical kicking. Leroy Carter and Moorbey could therefore provide the All Blacks with two dangerous wide options capable of turning limited opportunities into attacking momentum. Moving into the forwards, Ardie Savea is expected to return to the starting side and captain the team. Savea has not featured in the 3 tour matches because of his later arrival in South Africa, but his importance to the All Blacks is difficult to overstate. His experience, work rate and ability to influence the game around the breakdown make him one of the first names on the team sheet. Peter Lakai has performed well at number 8 in his absence, but the captain is expected to reclaim his position for the opening test. At open side flanker, Luke Jacobson could retain the number 7 jersey. Anton Segner has made a very strong impression during the tour, particularly with his outstanding display against the Bulls, but Jacobson has also earned the trust of Rennie through his performances in the Nations Championship and against the Sharks. That combination of experience and consistency could see him remain the preferred starter for the first test. At blindside, Tupaea is a particularly interesting selection. His previous use in the position against Ireland suggested that the All Blacks may have been preparing him for the demands of facing South Africa, and his ability to provide physicality while also contributing at line-out time could make him a valuable part of the game plan. The second row is another area where selection will be closely examined. Patrick Tuipulotu is expected to bring experience and physicality alongside Josh Lord. Sam Derry and Fabian Holland have both pushed their claims, with Holland in particular making an encouraging return from injury, but Lord remains the player in possession of the jersey. Rennie had indicated before the tour that he already had an idea of his first test team, and that could work in Lord's favor. In the front row, Fletcher Newell is predicted to start at tight head, with Tyrell Lomax potentially providing an impact option from the bench. The decision could come down to which combination gives the All Blacks the best balance against the Springboks' powerful forward pack. Lomax has produced a strong performance against the Bulls, while Newell remains a highly regarded option. Starting Newell and keeping Lomax as a replacement would also allow the All Blacks to introduce fresh power later in the match. At hooker, Cody Taylor looks set to return to the starting lineup after getting valuable minutes under his belt following injury. His experience in the set piece and his leadership qualities make him an important figure for the All Blacks, particularly in a match where discipline and accuracy at the lineout will be essential. Asafo Omua and Samisoni Takiaiaho are both strong options, but Omua could have a slight advantage as the preferred impact replacement. At loosehead prop, Ethan de Groot is expected to start, with Xavier Numia providing an exciting option from the bench. Numia has shown considerable promise and can make a real impact when introduced, while de Groot has appeared to rediscover some of his best form under Rennie. That gives the All Blacks a front row built around experience at the start and attacking impact later in the contest. The bench itself could be one of the most interesting parts of the selection. Asafo Omua, Xavier Numia and Tyrell Lomax would provide a powerful front row combination, while Anton Segner and Peter Lakai would give the coaching staff additional options in the back row. Cortez Ratama is expected to provide scrum half cover, while Anton Lienert-Brown could offer versatility in the midfield. And then there is Beauden Barrett. His potential inclusion on the bench would be particularly intriguing if Mackenzie is unavailable, because it would give the All Blacks another experienced playmaking option. Barrett has already shown during the tour that he can contribute from the back, and his improved performance against the Bulls may have strengthened his case. His presence could provide Rennie with flexibility depending on how the match develops. Perhaps the most notable omission from the predicted 23 is Rieko Ioane. Ioane has had an encouraging tour and remains a hugely experienced international player, but the competition for places in the backline is intense. With Tupaea performing strongly at outside center, Jordie Barrett established at inside center and the coaching staff potentially prioritizing another playmaker on the bench, there may simply not be room for Ioane in the first test squad. That does not mean he has fallen out of favor or that his tour has been unsuccessful. It simply highlights the depth of options available to Rennie and the difficult decisions facing the coaching staff. The Springboks will present a completely different challenge from the 3 matches the All Blacks have already played on tour. South Africa's physicality, kicking game, set-piece strength and ability to maintain pressure for long periods mean that every selection will have a tactical purpose. The All Blacks will need to be accurate, patient and disciplined, particularly when playing in Johannesburg. For Dave Rennie, this first test will also be the clearest indication yet of how quickly his ideas are translating onto the international stage. The 3 tour matches have provided valuable information, but the Springboks will test every part of the All Blacks game. The predicted selection suggests that Rennie is leaning towards a blend of trusted experience, physical forwards, versatile backs and impact players who can change the match from the bench. Ardie Savea would provide leadership, Jordie Barrett would bring midfield authority, while Jordan would offer intelligence at the back, and players such as Ruben Love, Quinn Tupaea, Josh Moorby and Leroy Carter would bring energy and attacking ambition. The biggest question may ultimately be how these combinations handle the pressure when the game becomes physical and territory becomes difficult to find. If Cam Roygaard is fit, his tempo could be crucial. If Beauden Barrett returns, his experience could become valuable at key moments. And if Ardie Savea leads from the front, the All Blacks will have one of their most influential players back in the mix. There are still fitness checks and selection decisions to come before the official team is confirmed, so this remains a prediction rather than a final lineup. But with the Springboks waiting in Johannesburg, the picture is becoming much clearer. The All Blacks appear ready to trust a combination that mixes established Test experience with some of the emerging talent that has impressed during the tour. Now the question is whether that combination can deliver when the pressure is at its highest. The official selection will reveal exactly how Dave Rennie sees the balance of his squad, but one thing is already certain. This first test against the Springboks will provide a major test of the All Blacks' progress, and every selection decision could have a significant role to play.